Yo, welcome to Reezy Does It. I am T Reezy. Today we'll be discussing the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game in the NFL. And I got my homeboy Phil in here again. Phil, what's happening, my guy?
What's cracking? What's cracking? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How about you, Phil?
Man, living that daily grind. You know how it is.
I know how it is. I definitely know how it is, Phil. Well, look, man, let's go ahead and cover the games that were played this weekend. So we had Kansas City playing Jacksonville, had playing Buffalo played Cincinnati, and then we had the Giants playing the Eagles, and then we had the Cowboys and 49ers. Anything that stood out to you from this weekend's games, Phil, this past weekend?
Yeah. There was something that really stood out. I got to ask you a question first.
Go ahead, Phil.
How about them Cowboys?
I knew that shit was coming. How about it, man? You know what? I'm still rocking with a Phil. I'm used to this, man. You know what I mean? I've been rocking solid with Dallas for a long time, man, and I ain't finna stop now. You feel me? So it is what it is, man. You know, Pollard got hurt. Not making any excuses, but by Pollard getting hurt, that extremely hurt the offensive playbook and the offensive side of the ball, man. Zeke just ain't got it no more, man. Zeke can't come in and just move the ball like that. You feel me? And then Dak, first off, let me give credit to San Francisco and San Francisco's defense. They are hard to move the ball on, and Dak had a hard time, man. Yeah. What you got to say,
Yeah.
Phil?
I kind of felt like the game was going to be 9-6. It was 9-9 going into the fourth quarter.
It was, yeah.
It didn't surprise me that both teams' defenses played so well.
Well, Dallas defense played well the first half, but my bad. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, Dallas defense played well. I mean, you only give up 19 points, you're supposed to win a ball game.
Yeah. And I say this, man. The pass that Diggs dropped that went right through his hands, that interception he should have had, that could have been that could be huge for us. It could have been huge for Dallas if he'd have caught that ball, man.
Yeah, that could be a definite momentum changing play. Much like the interception right before the half that the 49ers got. And right. Dallas was in scoring position.
Absolutely, so, you're right, yeah. Phil.
That's the thing about football is it's always a game of inches, and it's always one of those things where it's like, what if this and what if that, and I always tell people all the time, if my auntie had nuts, she'd be my uncle. So,
there you go. What about the rest of the games, Phil? Anything stand out to you from any other games?
About the impressed me was the fact that Cincinnati kind of went into Buffalo and just punched them right in the face and just took the game from them from the start.
They did. They did. Yeah.
They didn't even really let up. They didn't even really give them a chance. It was almost like they kind of had revenge on their mind or something. Which that was one of my picks from last week. It impressed me with the way that they just went in there and just took care of business. The other two games, not so much. It kind of went, as expected. I did expect the Giants to put up a better fight than what they did against Philly, but hey, Philly got that rest and Hurts looked like Hurts again.
Speaking of Philly, Phil, Philly got the 49ers this weekend, man. What do you expect to happen in this game, Phil? And tell me why.
It can go either way. If Philly moves the ball like they have all year against the 49ers, then yeah, they'll be tough to beat because they do put up points. They put up a lot of points, actually. They're one of the top teams in scoring. But the one thing that kind of sticks out to me about this game is how the 49ers defense is kind of built. And the one game that really stuck out to me this year with Philly was how they lost to the Redskins on Monday Night Football when they were undefeated. And Hurts threw some picks, and they were all right in that 10 to 15 yard range, right over the middle of the field. That is actually the strength of the 49ers, is right there in that core part of the center part of the field. And then they got, probably the defensive player of the year at pass rush. So that I think Philly might have some problems.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna say this, man. Dak has some problems. Now, Hurts has the better receivers, but Hurts could still have
Definitely.
problems. Hurts could still have problems. I mean, San Francisco, it's hard for me to tell sometimes. Do they run a 4-3? Do they run a 3-4? They disguise it so well. So, and I know if if it can be confusing to the viewers who watch it on TV, I'm sure it can be confusing the quarterback out there on the field, man. So Philly moves the ball really good. They score. What do you think about Philly's running game, Phil? Do you think Philly's running game is strong enough? Because they're gonna need to run the ball to beat Frisco.
Well, you're definitely gonna have to control the ball to beat Frisco, because how ironic, Frisco does have some weapons on their offense as well. Even though they got a third string quarterback out there, they're moving the ball with both those wide receivers, with Samuel, and I think you pronounce his name Ayuk. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Right.
And then Kittle at tight end. Hell, that was a couple weeks ago. Kittle had like 3 touchdowns and like 100 and some yards on somebody. He was just killing them, running wide open. Philly's definitely going to have to run the ball in order to control the clock. And the one thing I do kind of like about Philly is watching Philly and watching Hurts. Hurts is a winner, first of all. Let's just get that, said. Hurts is a winner. He won in college, and he continues to win now in the NFL. And everybody used to say, well, he couldn't throw, he couldn't this, he couldn't that. And then when they finally got him some wide receivers, or at least, 2 now, because they drafted one and then they traded for the other one. Now look at, how he looks. Looks like a real good pro quarterback. And I think that in essence of saying all of that, he's getting the gifts that Lamar Jackson don't have.
Thanks.
So he can actually change a game with his legs just as quick as he can with his arm.
He can. I definitely agree with that, man. Now, as far as San Francisco, Kittle and Christian McCaffrey killed Dallas. Now, will they be able to do the same against Philly? I don't know. We'll see. I think Dallas' defense is better than Philly's. So I just say Philly's going to have their hands full against San Francisco's offense. Philly's going to have their hands full against San Francisco's defense. But, I mean, you can say the same for San Francisco's defense. As good as they are, they're going to have their hands full trying to stop an explosive, potent Philly offense. With Jalen Hurts behind center and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith played well last week too, Phil.
Yeah. I do like Philly because of the fact that they'll be at home, and it's kind of an earlier game. You got the 49ers coming from the West Coast. You always got to kind of go through that body change with time clocks and stuff like that. I expect it to be, kind of in the mid-20s between both teams. I could see it being 25-22 or maybe even 28-25, something like that. Philly winning by a field goal. I don't know what the spread is. I'm pretty sure the spread is probably more than a field goal. I wouldn't, if I was a betting man and Philly being the favorites, of course, I'm pretty sure I would be taking the 49ers in whatever points.
Well, who would you take, Phil? Straight up.
Straight up, I'm gonna have to go Philly. I think that Hurts has the pedigree to get them over the hump, because he has won before. Like I said, he won in college. People doubted him. He left. He went to another school. He became a Heisman candidate again. He was drafted and put behind Wentz. He took Wentz's job. Look at how Wentz's career has gone since then.
Right. So you pick Philly to win the game. So Phil, as bad as I don't want to pick the Eagles, because they're my team's biggest rival, I'm gonna have to go ahead and pick Philly, man, because I think their offense. Matter of fact, I know their offense is more explosive than ours was, especially in the second half without Pollard. Um, if Jalen Hurts, you're right, Jalen Hurts is a winner. Jalen Hurts will figure it out, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Philly in that game, and also Phil, we got the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, how do you feel about this game, Phil? What do you expect to take place and why?
Um, it can be low scoring due to the weather. It did just snow out there, and it's supposed to be pretty cold, pretty brutal, make for a slick ball, things like that. Um, but before I really get that deep into the game, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yes, sir.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
think that Andy Reid is a really good coach?
He's had a lot of success. I know that.
He's had a
And
lot of success.
yeah, and that West Coast offense works really well. So yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I do think I think he's good. I mean, do I think he's Bill Belichick? No, but I think he's good.
All right. Now, what if I was to say to you, he was the Marty Schottenheimer of our generation?
Not so fast, Phil. I mean, the man did win a championship with Kansas City, but I know what you getting at. All the times that Philly made it to the NFC Championship under Andy Reid and didn't get nowhere. Even when they did make it to the Super Bowl, the team with T.O. and Donovan, they still didn't win. So I see what you're getting at, but first off, it takes a good coach to consistently get there to those games year after year after year. It takes a good coach. I mean,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Got anything else you want to add to that?
Um, I mean, that's all I can really say to
All right. Now,
defend him,
if I
Phil.
was to tell you, if I was to sit here and say that man been to 10 championship games, 10, he's only won three.
Hey, man, he got to those 10 though. Listen, every year we were in high school, Phil. Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl. They didn't win one. But I tell you what, Marv Levy was a hell of a coach to get them there 4 years in a row. I mean, I don't give a damn if they didn't win. For them to
Right.
get there 4 years in a row, that's a hella coaching, hella personnel, hella front office to recruit. I mean, to draft the right players. So
Well, I put it to you like this. I put it to you like this. My bad for cutting you off, but I'm gonna put it to you like this. It's one thing to go to the championship game and win it and actually go to the Super Bowl and lose the Super Bowl. Losing the Super Bowl is different than losing the championship game.
true. You're right, Phil. You're right.
And Andy Reid has been outcoached a few times. I mean, think about this for a minute. Since Joe Burrow's been in Cincinnati, he's played Mahomes three times. How many wins do we have against Mahomes?
I want to say none.
He's got three. He's
Hold
beat
on,
them
hold
all
on, hold
three
on, hold on.
times.
Joe Burrow's beat Mahomes 3 times?
He's beat them all three times.
And I'm tripping anyway because since he beat Kansas City last year in the playoffs, right?
They beat him in the championship game.
Okay, yeah, I'm tripping, man. Yeah,
They came from 21-3.
so I should have known at least once he's beaten.
And
But
they finished Mahomes into two turnovers in the third and fourth quarter last year.
Joe Burrow is the truth, man. Like how they used to call Joe Montana Joe Cool. This is the new Joe Cool, Phil.
He just might be.
This
He
is
just
the
might be.
this
My
is
favorite being the Ravens. I'm dreading seeing this dude every year, twice a year,
hey,
especially with the talent he got.
this is the new Joe Cool. You see how that man just sit back there in the pocket and don't get too excited and don't get too overwhelmed and make shit happen. I mean, he the new Joe Cool, man. Joe Burrow is that dude, man. I'm sorry, he
Yeah,
is.
he's definitely got that it gene.
He got
Um,
it. He got it.
he's definitely got that. I'm still riding with Cincinnati, like I told you last week. I
Mm-hmm.
believed whoever was going to win between Cincy and Buffalo was going to win probably the AFC and probably the Super Bowl
Right.
at this point. Cincinnati's playing well. I think they've won what 8, 9 in a row themselves now.
Mm-hmm.
Franchise history. I remember seeing that last week during the game.
Mm-hmm.
they're balling. They're balling the f out, dude.
They are, man. And like I said, Burrow's so cool and calm in the pocket, man. I wish we had him in Dallas, but we don't. But like I said last week, you got T. Higgins, you got
Don't
Chase,
forget Boyd. Don't
Tyler,
forget Boyd. We forgot
Tyler,
him last.
Tyler Boyd. And Cincinnati's defense stood up last week against Buffalo, man.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, they
mm-hmm.
did.
Yeah, I told you they would force some turnovers, and they did.
They did. So Phil, in the first half of that Chiefs game last week, man, I seen somebody roll over on Mahomes' ankle, man. How is that going to affect Mahomes this week? Will it affect him or will it not?
It definitely affects the whole offense because the offense is predicated on play action and him rolling out and actually making plays with his legs.
Right,
If he
right.
has to stand in the pocket and play out of shotgun a whole lot, he might be in a whole lot of trouble.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. This is what I noticed from Pat Mahomes last week. After the injury, like it seems like sometimes he would want to plant on the right foot to throw the ball, but he ended up planting on the left one to throw it. You feel me?
He,
Some,
he had
something,
to. He couldn't put no
something,
pressure on it.
something he's not even used to, and still made it happen out there, Phil. So I mean, even though I'm gonna go ahead and say it, I think Cincinnati will win the game, but you can never count out Patrick Mahomes, man.
I'm gonna go Cincinnati balls to the wall
I hear you.
because Mixon is controlling the clock.
He
He's running
is.
pretty well.
Yeah,
And they have an offense that can get the job done and put plenty of points on the board. I mean, we talk about the three wide receivers, but they also got a pretty damn good tight end and Hurts too.
yeah, they do. They do, man. Yeah, man. Some good games coming up this weekend. I can't wait, man. Yeah, so it sounds like both me and you picked Philly to beat Frisco, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
And both of us picked Cincinnati to beat Kansas City. Um, you know what? Scratch that, man. We can't have all the picks the same. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go out on a limb, man. I'm gonna say San Francisco and their defense is gonna turn up against Philly. I picked Frisco now. I changed my pick, man.
Okay,
So so
that's
I'm
fair.
gonna so I'm gonna go with Frisco against Philly, and I'm also gonna stick with Cincy against Kansas City, man.
I don't have any problems with you taking the Frisco pick. Um, that's a good pick. Um, I know I'm all in on Cincinnati, like all the chips. Like you remember on that Biggie song, "I Let Her Dough," and the dude was saying Brooklyn style, and he rolled the
Mm-hmm.
dice. That's me with Cincy right now.
I hear you, man. I hear you, man. Yeah, and Cincy deserves that because they've been balling, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got Cincy winning the whole thing in my book.
I hear you, man. Well, man, looks like we covered all the teams from this past weekend, or what was worth mentioning, and we covered the games coming up this weekend. Anything we forgot, Phil, or anything you want to add?
No, not really, not tonight. I think that we're gonna have some pretty fun games to watch. You'll be able to get your chips and your beer together and sit down and watch the whole end of the season kind of come to a close and really enjoy some pretty decent football. I think it's gonna be some good quality play calling in both games and some good quality ball played by all the players.
I heard that, man. I agree with you, Phil. I don't know about no chips, but I'm definitely gonna have some beer. I know that. And Phil, before we get out of here, guess what, Phil?
What's that?
Boy, you should have known by now. Reezy does it.